Hey, hello, thanks for being here. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do elemental pick-a-cards. So for each element, I'll have 3 piles. Select the pile that you might be drawn to. As we get into the readings, I'll expose what sign it's centered around, and then we'll just kind of explore the energy. So don't necessarily seek out your sun, moon, rising, or Venus. Follow your whatever you're called to engage with, and as we explore it, take a look at maybe what signs rule different houses in your birth chart, or if you have any planets in those spaces, but a little bit of a twist. Let's see where we go. Thanks for being here. We'll get started with the first 3 piles. I'll display those, give you a moment to connect with the energy, and then we will begin. Hey, welcome in, water signs. We're going to go ahead and get started with pile number 1. I drew the cards in advance and laid them out and spent a moment with them. You'll notice here that kicking things off, pile number 1 is representing folks in Pisces. So Pisces, your energy for this reading is showing up as the King of Swords. Nice strong energy, I think, as we explore, right, some of the transits that are happening. We've just had Saturn and Neptune leave your sign after a cozy stay. And with that, right, perhaps the veil has been lifted, right? You're seeing things more clearly. You're free of perhaps some disillusionment in some sense. And perhaps you have a more decisive opinion or point of view in matters of your own accord, or maybe those for a collective. So as we keep going, we'll explore opportunity, challenge, outcome, what you don't see coming, and some advice. So in your opportunity position, you have the 2 of Swords. Again, this is that challenge to really go within yourself internally. Oftentimes when we outsource our decision making or seek the opinions of who we believe to be friends and peers and all the things, right, it can actually add to confusion and illusion and all those things. And so, in this energy, you're being asked to really channel and go within, make sure that you are sourcing your ideas, your decisions from a place in your own internal intuition, I suppose. And it's also an opportunity, right, for you to lean in and see the ways in which you've gotten yourself stuck historically and kind of rid yourself of those patterns. Now, in the challenge position, you have the Page of Pentacles, right? And so pages are often messengers. It's also perhaps more youthful energy. Perhaps there's somebody a bit younger than you who is presenting a challenge towards you, or challenging you to maybe upskill or improve your skill set in some way, right? Because the outcome energy for you is going to be the 7 of Pentacles, the 7 of Materials, which talks about planting some seeds and seeing what grows, right? So it's perhaps diversifying your skill set in some way, tending and trying new things, exploring new things, and kind of see what yields an outcome. So it's likely, right, that you are, a change in what you're doing is ultimately an opportunity for you to evolve and grow. But the challenge is sort of learning something new, a new material skill set. But if you embrace it, and kind of roll with it, right, you'll be successful and kind of be able to juggle and mature that evolving sort of education, knowledge, and skill set that you're working towards. What you don't see coming, you have the Chariot card. So this could be a Cancer, Cancerian energy coming your way. You could be dealing with a Cancer who's going to shake things up. With that, you have balanced spirituality and don't let your past hold you back. So those are some interesting energies to go with that Cancer energy there in terms of what you don't see coming. It's likely you're being pushed and called to lean into a spiritual practice. And if that's not the most obvious thing about you, you're being called to kind of balance that, integrate it, bring it forth as part of your, day-to-day experience, while still balancing what you're doing every day. This Cancerian energy or this Chariot energy could also indicate big changes coming your way or progress coming your way in the summer, in Cancer season, right? So some of these pentacles that we're sowing in the Seven of Materials, we may actually see those come to fruition here, as we advance into the early summer, June, July energy. So keep an eye on that. What are you working on? What are you learning today? What are you being challenged, right? To change, to choose, to go towards. The Two of Voices, right? Could oftentimes folks kind of struggle with that. It could feel like you're keeping yourself stuck, but it's ultimately a decision point in which way you're going to go. Are you going to embrace the challenges available to you or kind of get stuck in the mud? All right, and your advice is the Two of Wands, right? And so that 2-2, balancing your mind versus action. And again, making sure that you're coming from a place of your own truth, your own creativity, that you are speaking out in your own personal best interest, free of any illusion of, maybe breadcrumbs you've historically accepted, right? Because you've taken maybe poor advice. You'll notice here that the Two of Wands is supported by the Phoenix card. So it says, be prepared to be renewed after a time of crisis. So again, if the past couple of years have been challenging with that Saturn in Pisces energy, it's about to lift, right? So as long as you can take those lessons with you, really have strength, look within, come from a place of groundedness, don't outsource that power, you're going to definitely be advancing forward. Yeah. And don't let anybody kind of hold you back by trying to keep you stuck in something from the past. So that's for you, Pisces. Thanks so much for being here. And we're going to move along to pile 2. Hey, welcome back in pile 2, water signs. You'll notice on this pile here, we are exploring the energy for our friends in Scorpio. I've pulled the cards, spent a moment with them, and we'll explore them. Scorpio, for this reading, you're showing up as your overall energy is the Ace of Wands, right? So inspired, creative, enlightened, ready to, right? Kind of, that's that strike of the match, right? So you've gotten some wind in your sail, and you're ready to ignite. You're ready to proceed, or at least there's an opportunity to. Now, as we explore the opportunity, challenge, and outcome here, for in your opportunity position, we are beginning with the Queen of Swords. This is very matter of fact, very cerebral energy, no nonsense. Your opportunity is to be very clear cut, very transparent, speak your voice, speak your truth, perhaps as it pertains to this idea or innovation or passion project that you have in mind. It's not a lot of nonsense for you. You want to be very clear cut about your expectations, what you want, what you expect. And your opportunity is to, right, channel that energy and go after it, of course. Your challenge position, though, is going to be the star energy, which, right, represents Aquarius. It represents healing. With the speed of this reading, we have, a couple of queens, we've got wands, we've got a lot of major arcana cards. My concern with the star showing up is that you're going to move too quickly and not take the time to heal or integrate the lessons as you go. So this is just a reminder not to bypass, right? To not be so strong in your opinions that you're not, at least hearing those around you. You're not taking into consideration the whole picture because you're so laser focused on what you believe to be truth in that moment, right? So just make sure that you're taking ample time to integrate the wisdom as you go, because you're going to be called upon to share it with a broader collective in the future. Now, in your outcome energy, you have the World. So you're definitely closing a chapter, which is why, right, integrating the wisdom and healing with the star energy is so important. You don't want these lessons to return. You don't want to have another masterclass in these items as you go. So keep that in mind. But you're definitely putting an end to something in that outcome energy, and you're showing up ready for something new, right? So this could have been something very long and drawn out. You're at the end of perhaps a very long and arduous cycle. Now, what you don't see coming is going to be this Queen of Wands energy. So this could be, a partner. It could be an aspect of yourself, that creative, integrated feminine version of yourself coming in and, wanting to take action. You also have supporting it. The communication is key card with the new moon in Gemini. This again aligns with that Queen of Swords energy, right? Being mindful of how we communicate and the stories we tell ourselves and about where we're going and what we want to do, right? And so you're really going to want to examine those themes so that you don't just come off as kind of a hothead or, emotional or overreactive in some way. You want to make sure that you're coming from a place of healed, balanced, right? Integrated energy. Now, your advice, interestingly, is the Tower card, which says, you're here to affect change. You're here to break down systems that aren't working. You're here, this could come by way of some of this truth, right, that you might be speaking. You have to be willing to accept that, once you go after it, it's not going to be the same. And with the Tower, we know that to be pretty immediate energy. Aha moments, pretty immediate energy, but to counterbalance that, you're being asked to also be patient, right? Slow down, change your attitude, clear your mind. And again, this really just simply supports that comparable energy up here with the Queen and the Star, right? And that's what we're talking about here. We know you want to run fast. We know you are very inspired in this moment, in this energy, and you probably are just so desperate to close this cycle. But you don't want to skip the necessary steps, for you to do it effectively, integrated, collecting all the wisdom, passing all the tests so that you don't have to sort of learn these lessons again. So that's just a quick caution to you here, Scorpio, but it looks great. It looks like you are cruising strong and inspired, and you're after something pretty exciting. So I hope that I hope this helps. I hope this, helps you pump the brakes where you need to and accelerate as appropriate. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time, and we'll move on to pile 3. Hey there, welcome in pile 3. I've drawn the cards already for us, and we'll go ahead and explore who this reading is for. Upon doing so, we discovered that this reading is going to be for those Cancer friends that we have. So welcome in, Cancer. This reading's for you. At the top of the deck, at the top of your spread, your overall energy is going to be the 5 of Cups, right? And so, a lot of times the 5 of Cups can talk about, grief and having a change of heart. But, here I know in this particular depiction, she's actually thawing her heart, right? At the top of the card, we have our icicles, we have that frigid state. And then as she works through and processes and transmutes this energy, right, it thaws, it becomes more free flowing. And so it appears to me as though you've been sort of in this energy of healing and working through some heavy energy, perhaps for some time, right? Perhaps for several months. Perhaps you've been in a bit of a hermit mode, if you will, for some time. So you are definitely processing and working through that energy, and why you may appear somber, right? You're doing it in a very healthy way, right? So that as you change and heal and seek to advance forward, you're doing it from a more confident place. Now, as we explore your opportunity, challenge, outcome, what you don't see coming, and your advice, right, we'll sort of explore that as we go. To kick things off, your opportunity is the moon. So perhaps some of the things that you are working through have been illusions, things that you didn't see clearly about, your belief systems. Yeah. The ways in which you've held your back, things that have been sort of murky historically, right? And you're kind of setting yourself free from that. You're kind of breaking down those walls. You're ridding yourself of some of those patterns. Now, I also note that there is a full moon coming up in Aries, right? Activation, energy, leader energy, right? There could be some advancement, some progress for you, right, in this upcoming full moon. Or as you are a Cancer, it could also indicate between April and July in, the month of, the energy of Cancer. In the challenge position, we have the 10 of Wands, right? And that's, you've been carrying all the sticks here. So, as you advance forward, as you make changes, as you plot your next steps, you have to remember to put some things down as you go. And that, tends to be sort of a challenge, right? You just keep adding the bags or the wands and you don't put anything down. You're being asked to put things down. And so keep that in mind as you go, right? You want to come from a place of capacity. You want to have enough space in your cups to fill them up for yourself, right? And if you're operating on empty, right, you're kind of just charging forward towards burnout instead of success. In your outcome energy here, you do have the 3 of Cups. This is celebration, collaboration, right? And so you'll get there, but you're being reminded that this is not a solo act. This is not a solo act. You need to collaborate. You need to open yourself up. You need to be able to work with others, communicate with others, and accept assistance and help and support and ask for it and provide it, right? Moving towards things that are more reciprocal in nature. What you don't see coming is going to be the Hierophant. So with the Hierophant energy, that could be Taurus. We do have Uranus moving into Taurus here pretty soon. So that could be an unexpected change hitting you wherever sort of Taurus is placed in your birth chart. If you are Cancer rising, right? Taurus would be just 2 behind in your hopes, wishes, and dreams in your 11th house potentially. And so there could be a very unexpected shift in your in some of those relationships, right? In your extended networks, or maybe just a fundamental shift in your values about your hopes, wishes, and dreams. Now, this card is being supported by, right, your commitment being tested. So again, we do have a lot of tests occurring these days. Talked a little bit about that Aries energy, the upcoming Aries full moon. Saturn just entered Aries, so depending on where that is in your birth chart, again, if you're a Cancer rising, that's going to be in your 10th house of public image, career, how you kind of show up in the world. And so you might ultimately be getting quite challenged, right? With your belief systems, how you show up, what you stand up for, how you conduct yourself, what stories you tell, right? So it could be time for, Saturn to call in a little bit of a testy for you. Now, your advice is to lean into your creativity, have strength, channel that Leo energy, right? Taming that lion. You're very self-assured. Everybody's in harmony. Just channel that, right? Don't get caught up in banter, drama, confusion, because supporting it, you have positive energy surround you, love, joy, and good fortune await. So amazing outcome. You're definitely ready to pass this test, but just bear in mind, right? You got to put some things down as you go. You can't bring everything with you as you advance, change, evolve. That might be the big test, right? Pushing back, advocating for yourself, and really, getting rid of belief systems that said, you had to go it alone. This is a new chapter. There's one in which is very collaborative, supportive, one to celebrate, one for your community. So that's for you, Cancer. Thanks so much for being here. Hope it helped, and we'll see you on the next one.